Hey guys, how's it going? Fan fiction. Very interesting topic. Now I think everyone who watches these vlogs will know what fan fiction is, but for those of you who don't, I'll just give you a brief summary right now. So let us say that an author writes a story, and the book becomes so popular that he gets a following of fans. But the book ends on a cliffhanger. His fans want to know what happens next. But he feels that he's done with the story and has written it to his best ability. So the fans of the book continue the story. They write an ending to the cliffhanger and then continue the story on online forums. This is fan fiction. I'm going to try to show two different points of view about fan fiction. Some authors have a problem with fan fiction. After all, the author came up with the story and the characters and the plot twists. He probably worked very hard to get that book published. So, some authors' arguments against fan fiction are, so why should fans be able to take credit for the characters and the world that the author made? But the argument for fan fiction is interesting as well. After all, an author may have come up with the characters and the world and the universe, but it's the fans who keep it all afloat. The fans are the ones who buy the books and talk about the characters afterwards. Without fans to read the books, the writer can't do what he would do. People can get really attached to characters. I know when I read books, I often feel I empathize a lot towards characters that I like, and I feel quite distasteful to those that I don't. And as people read the story, oftentimes the story goes on in their head after reading it. I'll wonder what happened to that character and come up with a hypothesis. But fanfiction is just taking what you think might have happened and writing it down for more people to see. I'm in favor of fans continuing the story. I do it all the time in my head. And I think that if an author thinks that people won't read his books after reading the fanfiction because they've already gotten a general gist of it, on the other hand, they could read the fanfiction. They could love the characters that they read in the fanfiction so much that they go out and buy the book with the cliffhangers and then supplement the ending with the continuations. Another interesting point we could make would be book-to-movie adaptations. Take, for example, Lord of the Ring. They followed the books relatively closely, but they still took some liberties in the lines and the worlds, and things that weren't described. Peter Jackson, the guy who was behind the movies, had to fill in the gaps as he saw fit. So technically, isn't that a form of fan fiction? And of course, Lord of the Rings is but one example. By the way, I don't want to do a book haul thing for just one book, but I did get R.J. Tolkien's Children of Húrin. I was deciding between this one and a different one, which was like a book of elf tales, also by J.R.R. Tolkien. But I picked this one because there's some really beautiful watercolor illustrations in here. Well, not watercolor illustrations, but they're printed. But that's very nice. I like this. The other valid point I see on the side of the authors against fanfiction is that if they've spent all this time carefully putting together characters and worlds and interactions, but then somebody took those characters and their emotions and did dirty things with them, like Twilight versus 50 Shades of Grey. A lot of people don't like it as a love story, but Twilight was still a popular book. But what 50 Shades of Grey did was someone said, you know what, I didn't like that it wasn't dirty enough. I can fix that, and that I do not agree with at all. I mean, I want to write for a living. That's what I want to do. I love it. This will go at the end. My sister came in and interrupted my filming, but she showed me this adorable little picture of Klaus that she drew from a series of unfortunate events. So that's cute. Thank you for that, Jacqueline. That was quite nice. I've read some published fan fiction, and I really liked it. Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is a beautiful spoof on all things science fiction. Well, not all things science fiction, but most things science fiction, and it's absolutely amazing. The world he creates with those giant slugs and whatever they're shooting at, they can't figure out, and the hitchhiker... Skip all that. It's just an amazing book. But when he didn't write any more of them, an Irish writer called Ian Colfer, who wrote, I believe, The Supernaturalists and the Artemis Fowl series, he wrote another book called And Another Thing. And he wrote it very well, very much in the original style, and I truly enjoyed that published work of fan fiction. Another notable example is Jane Yolen, who continued the Alice in Wonderland series after Lewis Carroll did not. Passed away. Dead. Kick the bucket. And finally, another really good fanfiction that I read and liked was Dave Barry and Ridley Pearson's Peter and the Starcatchers. There's Peter and the Starcatchers, and there's 4 others. And that's a continuation on Peter Pan, but they didn't write Peter Pan. they loved the universe, and they continued on with it, with Disney's permission, because Disney owns the rights. And now it's a musical. It's actually a Broadway musical. It's on YouTube. I'll link to the YouTube thing for their Broadway show. I like to see that, because I don't live in Broadway. So generally, I think that both sides have a very good point. The characters belong to those who love them. But if the people who love the characters don't respect them, they don't deserve to play around with them. Alright, that's all for now, and see you guys later. Bye! I'm kind of skeptical about wearing the tie and this. I think it looks good. I could be classy. This could be a thing, polo shirt and a tie. Or a thing, this could be a signature. Signatures are good, they make you memorable. Yeah, memorable.